Welcome to Culture Alley Mandarin. Ni hao. This is Mandarin Lesson 2. Let's start by going over the tones you learned in the last lesson again. Remember that one way of learning the tones and their symbols is to see that the symbol for the tone is almost identical to the tone itself. Let's take a look at the tones and their examples. The high level tone is denoted by a high bar. And like its name, the mid-rising tone goes from the middle to the top. The V shape of the falling rising tone is indicative of its intonation. And finally, the falling tone has a downward slant, indicating the sharp fall that it usually takes. Great! Now let's take a look at the vocabulary we learned from the last lesson. Do you remember the forms of ma? Let's review them again. Mother translates to ma, and hemp translates to ma. Horse translates to ma, and scold translates to ma. Very good. All right, let's move on to today's lesson. Let's learn how to say hello in Mandarin. Now that we have learned the basic tones and their differences, let us see how tones work when used in actual conversation. Are you ready to learn how to say hello? Great! Let's start. In Mandarin, hello literally translates to you good. One more time. Hello becomes you good. Isn't that easy? Let's see. How do we say you and good in Mandarin to make hello? You, which is a possessive pronoun, translates to ni, while good, which is an adjective, translates to hao. Did you get those? Great! Let's try to say them one more time. You translates to ni and is similar for both male and female, while good translates to hao. Can you try saying that? It's hao. Good. Ni hao literally means you good and is used to say hello. Now, let's go over the tones that are used in saying both these words. You translates to ni, and it is pronounced using a falling rising tone, also known as the third tone. Let's try and say ni. Once again, it is said with a falling rising tone, also known as the third tone. Ni. Good. Let's move on to the second word we learned, which is good. Good translates to hao, and just like ni, hao is also said with a falling rising tone, that is, the third tone. Adding the two, hello translates to ni hao. Can you try that? It's ni hao. Excellent! An important point to note is that in Mandarin, whenever we have two third tones in a row, the first tone is pronounced as the second tone. For example, in ni hao, ni is pronounced using the second tone. Just a reminder, you translates to ni, good translates to hao, and ni hao literally means you good and is used to say hello in Mandarin. Here's a culture tip for you. Ni hao is the most common form of greeting in China. It can be used at any time of day when meeting people for the first time or for people you already know. The response to this greeting form is also ni hao. So now you know how to greet someone in Mandarin. Alright, let's take a quiz and see if you remember what we've covered till now. What is the correct tone of you in you good? Is it ni, or ni? Or do you think it's ni? The correct tone of you in you good is ni. Did you get that right? It's the second option, ni. So remember, you translates to ni, which is pronounced using a falling rising tone, also known as the third tone. How do we say good in Mandarin? Would you say how or how? Or will it be how? In Mandarin, good is translated as how, which is said in the falling rising tone. Great! Let's create a conversation. Suppose that Mark and Lisa are friends and they meet at a coffee shop. What would they say to each other? Mark would say, ni hao, to which Lisa would also reply, ni hao. Here's a quick culture tip. When addressing an elder or greeting someone formally, we use nin in place of ni. Let's learn how to say nin. Can you identify the tone that nin carries? Nin, or the formal, respectful way of saying you, is pronounced with a mid-rising tone, or the second tone. Can you try and say nin? It is said with a mid-rising tone, also known as the second tone. Once again, it's nin. Great! Since a formal you translates to nin, a formal hello translates to nin hao. Can you try and say nin hao? Once again, it's nin hao. Wonderful! So now we know that nin is used in conversations with elders such as grandparents, parents, or to show respect to bosses. In short, nin hao translates to a formal hello. Once again, it's quiz time. While saying hello to your grandmom, nin takes which tone? Does it become nin hao or nin hao? Or is it nin hao? While saying hello to your grandmom, nin takes the mid-rising tone, or the second tone, and it becomes nin hao. How would you say hello while talking to a younger cousin? Would you greet them by saying ni hao? Or would you go with nin hao? Or the last one, which is ni hao? The correct response while greeting a younger cousin would be the first option, ni hao. Can you try that again? Ni hao. Well done! So remember, as an informal greeting, hello translates to ni hao, where both ni and hao are said in the falling rising tone, like ni hao, while a formal hello translates to nin hao, with a mid-rising tone on nin and a falling rising tone on hao. Put together, they become nin hao. Which of the following tones may be described as a falling rising tone? Is it ni or ni or simply ni? The third option here, which is ni, may be described as a falling rising tone. Did you get that one? It's ni. Good! Let's do a quick review. Let's go over the vocabulary we learned today. Informally, you translates to ni, while formally, you translates to nin. Good simply translates to hao. It's now time for our culture leaf of the day. Let's learn about feng shui. Feng shui literally translates as wind, water in English, and is the amalgamation of many ancient Chinese beliefs. The aim of feng shui is to bring various water bodies and land configurations into complete harmony, so as to direct the flow of qi, or vital energy. Benefits of good feng shui encompass health and longevity, prosperity, fecundity, and general happiness. The benefits of it are also believed to extend to one's descendants. A magnetic compass was invented for feng shui and is used ever since. Many of the higher level forms of feng shui involve altering architecture or design. However, less expensive forms of feng shui include hanging special mirrors, or forks are also used to deflect negative energy. The picture here shows a feng shui spiral at LA Chinatown's metro station. Very well. Now that you know how to say hello, we will learn more basic greetings such as "How are you?" and "I'm good" in the next lesson. We hope you enjoyed your lesson today. See you at the alley for the next one.